One of the things that gets to me is the idea that people listen to politicians but fail to watch them to see if they actually live up to their words. Down through American history, we've witnessed great orators who then use the support they've garnered to portray Americanism. The problem is that the words they speak get into the history books rather than the betrayal they performed. Modern examples have been the Bush family, portrayed as conservatives, but they act as globalists. The Romneys fit this pattern as well. The Roosevelt family fits this pattern. Teddy was a Republican while Franklin was a Democrat. Today, conservatives quote these notable people as being great Republicans or constitutionalists. Many are well known and are looked upon as figureheads. In fact, too many of them have been outright Marxists and dealt in treason to the American system. For instance, if you dig deep enough, you will find that some of our presidents in the 1800s cooperated with people and initiatives which were part of the overall communist program. I've done extensive research on many individuals over the years. If you read my history of the first 100 years of the war against God and the Constitution in America, you will see who some of these men were. My book is called To the Victor Go the Myths and Monuments, and you can order it at shopjbs.org. The point is that too often people today listen instead of watch what politicians or leaders are doing. Their actions need to match their words. I challenge you to look into individuals that are on your ballot and find out what they are promising. Once elected, keep tabs on whether or not they are staying true to their campaign promises. I recommend even doing your own research on past leadership, such as the Bushes or Roosevelt families. Over the years, the John Birch Society has received a great deal of criticism for telling the truth about those involved in political movements and office holders. The most notable criticism was Robert Welch's book, The Politician. It documented the political path and results of President Eisenhower. As a result of Mr. Welch's research and diligent attention to action rather than words, he documented that Ike was very different than his public image. But since Ike's public image was very high, we came under a lot of criticism for the book. Even with all the facts printed in black and white, along with all the publicity surrounding it, no bookstores would carry The Politician. The public was basically blocked from seeing the truth. We recommend that you get a copy of The Politician if you haven't read it. It is available at shopjbs.org. It is very revealing and extremely well documented. While it was contemporary events when it was written, it is vital history today in order to understand the deep state that exists. There are many other resources out there that have been written on several other individuals. For instance, there was a book written about Ronald Reagan entitled, Here's the Rest of Him. It gave you a full understanding of his actions compared to his rhetoric. Conservatives quote his words but ignore his actions. Did you know that his cabinet was comprised of nearly all Council on Foreign Relations or Trilateral Commission members? It isn't what people say, it's what they do that counts. We still have this problem today with so-called conservative leaders. You can see this problem today with the Republican leadership, who talk one way and act another. Many within the Republican leadership claim to want conservatives in office, yet do all they can to scuttle constitutionalists from being elected. If a constitutionalist is elected, the leadership works against them when dealing with Congress and their constituents. Mitch McConnell fits this pattern. And for those of you who've watched my videos over time, recall that I have even had words about Kevin McCarthy. So the point is, we need to watch rather than listen. Words are cheap. Actions tell the real story. In recruiting new people, get them to understand this concept of watching a person's actions rather than their words. And if you're discussing a so-called conservative politician, Make sure that you have some facts to back up their actions when talking about them. A blanket condemnation will not work if the person who you are talking to thinks the politician is a hero when they're really a dud. When it comes to action, our magazine, The New American, publishes the Freedom Index. It looks at how members of Congress vote in relationship to the Constitution, which they've all sworn an oath to uphold. The January 30th, 2023 edition of The New American has the final look at the 117th Congress. When you look at this index, keep in mind that a 70% conservative is voting 30% of the time against the Constitution. 30% here, 30% there, and it finally starts to add up over time. They may be a conservative, but are they a constitutionalist? The best thing to do is let people read the Freedom Index for themselves. Show them facts rather than getting into an argument that may go nowhere. In any case, teach people to watch rather than listen. Words are cheap. Action, or the lack of action, tells the real story.